How You're Being Manipulated Every Day. Published by Audiobooks HUB. Introduction. The Invisible Chains. Have you ever made a decision and later wondered, was that really my choice? You may believe you are in control of your thoughts, your actions, and your beliefs. But what if I told you that every single day, you are being manipulated, without even realizing it? Governments, corporations, the media, even people around you, friends, family, colleagues. They all use subtle techniques to influence your emotions, shape your behavior, and control your decisions. They know how to trigger fear, desire, guilt, and even a sense of duty to make you act in ways that serve their interests, not yours. The most dangerous part? You don't even notice it happening. Manipulation is not always obvious. It's not just about aggressive sales tactics or political propaganda. It happens in everyday conversations, in advertisements, in social norms that tell you what to think and how to live. Once you learn to see the hidden strings, you can finally take control of your own mind. This book will expose the most powerful manipulation techniques used against you every day. More importantly, it will teach you how to recognize them, resist them, and protect your freedom of thought. By the time you finish reading, you'll see the world with new eyes. You will no longer be an easy target. You will take back control. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Manipulation. Manipulation works because it targets the mind's weaknesses. To defend yourself, you first need to understand how your brain is being hijacked. Let's break down the key psychological principles that make manipulation so effective. The power of emotion over logic. People like to believe they are rational beings who make decisions based on logic. But in reality, emotion always comes first. Studies in neuroscience show that when faced with a decision, our emotional brain reacts before the logical part of our brain even has a chance to process the information. Manipulators exploit this by triggering strong emotions, fear, excitement, guilt, anger. Once you're emotional, you're more likely to act impulsively and less likely to think critically. Example: a politician tells you, if you vote for my opponent, your country will be ruined. Instead of analyzing policies logically, fear makes you react defensively. How to defend yourself? Pause before reacting. When you feel a strong emotional reaction, stop and ask, is this person trying to control my feelings? Look for the facts. Strip away the emotional language and focus on real evidence. Social proof, the herd mentality. Humans are wired to follow the crowd. It's a survival instinct. Sticking with the group increases your chances of survival. Manipulators use this against you by making you believe that everyone else is doing it, so you should too. Example: companies use fake reviews or display bestseller labels on products to make you think if so many people like this, it must be good. How to defend yourself? Ask yourself, who benefits? Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right for you. Look for real proof. Do your own research instead of trusting what everyone else is doing. Authority bias, blind trust in experts. We are conditioned from childhood to obey authority figures, teachers, doctors, leaders. This makes us more likely to accept what they say without question. Manipulators exploit this by using the illusion of authority to make you comply. Example: a man in a white coat appears in a TV commercial and says, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste. You automatically trust him, without checking if he's even a real dentist. How to defend yourself. Check credentials. Just because someone sounds confident doesn't mean they're right. Ask for evidence. A real expert will provide proof, not just opinions. The scarcity effect, fear of missing out. Manipulators create a sense of urgency to push you into making quick decisions. When something seems rare or limited, your brain panics and tells you to act before it's too late. Example: online stores use timers that say only 2 left. Sale ends in 5 minutes, to make you rush into buying something. How to defend yourself. Slow down. If someone is pressuring you to act fast, ask yourself why. Think long-term. If it's a good decision today, it will still be a good decision tomorrow. Reciprocity, the subtle trap of favors. When someone does something nice for you, you feel obligated to return the favor. Manipulators use this instinct to get you to agree to things you normally wouldn't. Example: a car salesman offers you a free coffee. Now, you feel bad about leaving without at least considering buying something. How to defend yourself. Recognize the tactic. Just because someone gives you something doesn't mean you owe them. Say no without guilt. A real favor comes with no expectations. Conclusion. Knowledge is power. Now that you understand the basic psychological tricks, you can start to see manipulation in action. Pay attention in your daily life, ads, conversations, news reports. The more you recognize these techniques, the more power you have to resist them. Chapter 2. The Media Machine, Controlling Your Perception. The media is not just about informing you. It's about shaping the way you see the world. Every headline, every news segment, every viral post is designed to influence your emotions, opinions, and even your actions. Most people assume they are consuming neutral information, but the reality is much darker. The illusion of objectivity. News outlets claim to provide the facts, but every piece of information is filtered, framed, and twisted to serve an agenda. The same event can be reported in completely different ways depending on the political or financial interests behind a media company. Example: one news channel reports, protesters demand justice in the streets, while another reports, riots break out, causing chaos and destruction. Same event. Different emotional impact. How to defend yourself. Compare multiple sources. Don't trust just one version of the story. Ask, what's being left out? Often, the most important details are the ones not mentioned. Emotional headlines, manipulating your reactions. News headlines are not just about delivering information. They are designed to trigger emotions, anger, fear, outrage, or hope, because emotional reactions drive more engagement. Example: a headline that says, "Your favorite food is slowly killing you" is more likely to make you click than one that says, "New study explores potential health risks in diet." How to defend yourself. If a headline makes you angry or afraid, stop and analyze it before reacting. Look for neutral sources that report facts without emotional manipulation. The repetition effect: if you hear it enough, you believe it. One of the most powerful manipulation tools is repetition. If you hear something over and over again, your brain starts to accept it as truth, even if it's false. This is how propaganda works. Example: a false rumor spreads online. Even after it's proven wrong, people still believe it because they've seen it so many times. How to defend yourself. Just because something is widely repeated doesn't mean it's true. Always check the original source of information. Selective exposure, keeping you in an echo chamber. Social media and news algorithms are designed to show you what you already agree with. This creates an illusion that everyone thinks like you, reinforcing your existing beliefs and making it harder to see other perspectives. Example: if you lean toward one political side, your news feed will mostly show content that supports your views, making you believe that opposing opinions are rare or foolish. How to defend yourself? Follow sources that challenge your views. This helps you see the full picture. Question your own biases. Ask yourself, am I only seeing one side of the story? Fear-based manipulation, controlling you through anxiety. The media thrives on fear because fear keeps you engaged. When people are afraid, they consume more news in search of solutions and reassurance. This is why stories about crime, disasters, and economic collapse dominate the news cycle. Example: a news station constantly reports on rising crime rates, even if overall crime is decreasing. Why? Because fear keeps you watching. How to defend yourself? Recognize when fear is being used as a weapon to control your behavior. Focus on facts, not emotional storytelling. Conclusion: break free from the narrative. The media is not designed to inform you, it is designed to control your perception. The more you consume without questioning, the more you allow others to shape your reality. Chapter 3: The Hidden Tricks of Advertising. Every day, you are bombarded with thousands of advertisements, on your phone, on billboards, in videos, and even in conversations. But advertising is not just about selling products. It's about controlling your desires, shaping your identity, and making you spend money without even realizing it. The illusion of choice. Marketers love to make you feel like you are in control. They present you with multiple options, giving you the sense that you are making a rational decision. In reality, every choice has been carefully pre-selected and manipulated to lead you to the same outcome. Example: a fast food menu offers a small, medium, and large drink. The small is ridiculously tiny, and the large is overpriced, making you choose the medium, which was the target all along. How to defend yourself? Recognize when choices are being framed to push you toward a specific decision. Ask yourself, would I even want this if it weren't presented to me? Scarcity and urgency, the fear of missing out. Advertisers know that people fear losing opportunities more than they enjoy gaining something. This is why they create false urgency to make you act fast. Example: an online store displays, only 2 left in stock. Sale ends in 10 minutes. In reality, there's no real scarcity, but your brain panics and convinces you to buy immediately. How to defend yourself? Never rush a purchase because of a countdown timer or limited stock warning. Take a step back and ask, do I really need this, or am I being pressured? Emotional triggers, selling a feeling, not a product. Ads don't sell you products, they sell emotions. They make you believe that buying something will make you happier, more attractive, or more successful. Example: a luxury car ad never talks about fuel efficiency or engine specs. Instead, it shows a wealthy, confident man driving through the city, subtly telling you, buy this car, and you'll be powerful like him. How to defend yourself? Ask yourself, am I buying this for its actual value, or for the feeling they are selling me? Look at the practical benefits, not just the emotional appeal. The halo effect, famous faces, trusted brands. People automatically trust celebrities, influencers, and well-known brands, even when they have no real expertise. Advertisers use this psychological shortcut to manipulate your trust. Example: a famous athlete endorses a sports drink. You assume it must be high quality, even though he was paid millions to say that. How to defend yourself? Just because a famous person promotes something doesn't mean it's good. Look for real reviews, not just celebrity endorsements. Anchoring, the price manipulation trick. Your brain is easily tricked by numbers. When you see an expensive price first, it makes everything after it look like a bargain, even if it's not. Example: a store lists a jacket as originally $300, now only $149. The jacket was never worth $300, but the fake discount makes you feel like you're getting a deal. How to defend yourself? Don't compare prices to the original price, compare them to similar products elsewhere. Ask yourself, would I pay this price if I didn't see the fake discount? Conclusion: take back control over your wallet. Advertising is designed to make you feel like you're making your own choices, when in reality, your decisions are being engineered. The more you understand these tactics, the more control you have over your spending habits. Chapter 4. Social manipulation: how people control you without you noticing. Every day, people around you, friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers, subtly influence your decisions, thoughts, and behaviors. Social manipulation is powerful because it's often invisible. It doesn't feel like control, it feels like normal social interaction. But once you learn to recognize it, you'll see how often others try to steer you in their direction. Peer pressure, the silent force controlling your choices. People hate feeling like outsiders. This fear of social rejection is so strong that it makes us change our opinions, habits, and even morals just to fit in. Example: you're at a party, and everyone is drinking. You don't really want to, but when your friend says, "Come on, don't be boring," you give in. Not because you want to, but because you don't want to be excluded. How to defend yourself? Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to or because I feel pressured? Practice saying no without justifying yourself. Confidence shuts down manipulation. Guilt and obligation, emotional debt traps. Some people use guilt to manipulate you into doing things you wouldn't normally do. They make you feel obligated to say yes, even when you don't want to. Example: a friend does you a small favor, and later, they say, "I helped you last time, so you owe me." Suddenly, you feel like you have no choice but to agree. How to defend yourself? Recognize when someone is using past favors to control you. You don't owe anyone anything unless you willingly agreed to return the favor. The fear of disapproval: why we change to please others. Humans are wired to seek approval. This makes us easy to manipulate because people can withhold approval to control our behavior. Example: you start a new hobby, and your friends mock you for it. You quit, not because you dislike it, but because you don't want to be judged. How to defend yourself? Understand that true confidence means not needing everyone's approval. Surround yourself with people who respect your choices instead of controlling them. Gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation tactic where someone makes you question your own memories, perceptions, and sanity. It's commonly used by toxic individuals, controlling partners, and even in politics and media. Example: you confront someone about their bad behavior, and they say, you're overreacting. That never happened. Over time, you start doubting yourself. How to defend yourself? Trust your memory. If something felt wrong, it probably was. Keep written records of important conversations. Social proof, the hidden power of the crowd. People assume that if a lot of others believe something, it must be true. This is why fads, trends, and viral movements gain so much power. Example, a restaurant seems crowded, so you assume it must be good. You don't realize that half the people are hired actors creating an illusion of popularity. How to defend yourself? Question why you believe something. Is it because it makes sense, or just because others believe it? Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right. Conclusion. Take back control of your mind. Social manipulation is so powerful because it happens without force. It makes you feel like you're making your own decisions, when in reality, your actions are being shaped by others. The key to breaking free is awareness. The moment you recognize the manipulation, it loses its power over you. Chapter 5. Manipulation in relationships, when love becomes control. The people closest to you, your partner, family, and friends, have the most influence over your emotions and decisions. While healthy relationships are built on respect and trust, manipulative relationships use control, guilt, and emotional games to keep you trapped. The problem is that manipulation in relationships often feels like love or concern, making it difficult to recognize. Love bombing, the trap of overwhelming affection. Love bombing happens when someone overwhelms you with attention, compliments, and gifts at the beginning of a relationship. It feels amazing at first, but it's not real love. It's a tactic to make you emotionally dependent. Once you're hooked, their behavior suddenly changes. Example, a new partner showers you with affection, constantly texts you, and says, "I've never felt this way before." Then, after a few weeks, they start pulling away, making you chase them for the same affection they once gave freely. How to defend yourself? If something feels too good to be true, be cautious. Real love builds over time. Notice inconsistencies in their behavior. Do they switch from loving to distant? Guilt tripping, when love feels like a debt. Manipulators use guilt to make you feel like a bad person for not giving them what they want. They act like victims, making you responsible for their happiness. Example, your partner says, "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me." Now, instead of making a free choice, you feel forced to comply out of guilt. How to defend yourself? Recognize when someone is using guilt instead of logic to get their way. Love should be given freely, not demanded. Silent treatment, emotional punishment. Instead of openly discussing problems, some people use silence and emotional withdrawal as a weapon. This makes you feel anxious and desperate to fix things, even when you didn't do anything wrong. Example, your partner suddenly stops responding to your messages after an argument. When you ask what's wrong, they say, "You should know." You feel helpless and guilty, even though you're not sure what you did. How to defend yourself? Don't reward passive-aggressive behavior by chasing after them. Set boundaries. If someone refuses to communicate, let them deal with their emotions alone. Gaslighting, making you question your reality. Gaslighting is when someone denies your experiences, twists the truth, or makes you doubt yourself. It's one of the most dangerous manipulation tactics because it makes you question your own sanity. Example, you catch your partner lying, but they say, "You're just imagining things." You always overreact. Over time, you start believing them and doubting your own judgment. How to defend yourself? Trust your instincts. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Keep evidence, texts, emails, notes, to remind yourself of the truth. Jealousy and possessiveness, disguised as love. Some people use jealousy as a way to control you. They make you feel guilty for spending time with friends, accuse you of things you haven't done, or demand that you change your behavior for the relationship. Example, your partner says, "I don't want you talking to other guys because I love you." It sounds caring, but in reality, they're trying to isolate you. How to defend yourself? Recognize that trust is essential in a healthy relationship. If someone tries to control who you talk to or what you do, it's manipulation, not love. Conclusion. Love shouldn't feel like a trap. A loving relationship is about freedom, trust, and mutual respect, not control, guilt, or fear. If you recognize these manipulation tactics in your relationships, it's time to set boundaries and take back your power. Chapter 6. Workplace Manipulation: How Your Job Controls You Without You Noticing. Your workplace is one of the most manipulative environments you'll ever encounter. Companies, managers, and even co-workers use subtle tactics to control your behavior, emotions, and decisions, often without you realizing it. From guilt-tripping you into working overtime to using competition to make you push harder, workplace manipulation is everywhere. The question is, are you aware of it? The illusion of job security, keeping you in fear. Many employees stay in bad jobs because they're afraid of losing stability. Companies reinforce this fear by making you believe that the job market is tough. You're lucky to have this job. If you leave, you won't find anything better. Example, your boss hints that layoffs might happen soon but never gives a clear answer. This uncertainty keeps you working harder because you're scared of being the next one to go. How to defend yourself? Never let fear control your decisions. Always keep your resume updated and explore other opportunities. Unpaid overtime, making you feel guilty for setting boundaries. Many companies expect employees to work beyond their paid hours by making them feel like they're not dedicated enough if they don't. They won't force you, but they'll pressure you subtly. Example, you finish your work for the day, but your manager says, "The rest of the team is staying late. Are you sure you want to leave now?" You feel guilty and stay, even though it's not required. How to defend yourself? Understand that your time is valuable and unpaid work is exploitation. Set clear boundaries and don't justify leaving on time, it's your right. The family lie, pretending to care about you. Some companies manipulate employees by calling them family. This creates an emotional bond that makes you feel guilty for asking for better treatment. Example, your boss says, "We're like a family here." But when you ask for a raise, suddenly, that family bond disappears. How to defend yourself? Remember, a real family doesn't fire you for underperformance. Work is a business transaction, not an emotional relationship. Competition and comparison, keeping you in a rat race. Companies use competition to make employees work harder, often for no extra pay. They create rankings, performance reviews, and Employee of the Month awards to make you feel like you constantly need to prove yourself. Example, your company introduces a new leaderboard ranking sales numbers. Now, Instead of focusing on quality work, employees become obsessed with beating each other. How to defend yourself. Compete with yourself, not with others. Focus on long-term growth instead of chasing meaningless rankings. False promises, keeping you hooked on future rewards. Companies manipulate employees by dangling rewards that never come. Promotions, raises, and bonuses are promised in the future, but that future never arrives. Example, your manager says, "If you work hard for the next few months, I'll recommend you for a raise." You work extra hours, but when the time comes, there's always an excuse. How to defend yourself. If a promise isn't in writing, it doesn't exist. If you're undervalued, look for a better job, don't wait for empty promises. Toxic bosses, controlling you through fear. Some managers use fear to maintain power. They criticize employees publicly, demand unrealistic deadlines, and keep people on edge so they're afraid to push back. Example, your boss says, "If you can't handle pressure, maybe this job isn't for you." Instead of questioning their poor management, you start questioning your own abilities. How to defend yourself. Recognize toxic behavior and stop blaming yourself. Keep written records of unfair treatment in case you need proof later. Conclusion. You work for yourself first. Your job is a business deal, you trade your time for money. The moment your workplace takes more than it gives, you're being manipulated. Learn to see the signs, set boundaries, and remember, you work for yourself first, not for them. Chapter 7. The Hidden Persuasion of Advertising in Media. Every day, thousands of messages are designed to shape your thoughts, emotions, and decisions, without you even noticing. From the moment you wake up and check your phone to the time you go to bed, advertising and media manipulate your reality. The goal? To control your spending, beliefs, and even your self-image. Emotional triggers, making you feel before you think. Ads don't just sell products, they sell emotions. Marketers know that if they can make you feel something, you're more likely to buy. Example, a luxury watch commercial doesn't talk about timekeeping. Instead, it shows a wealthy, confident man in a suit, suggesting that owning the watch means success. How to defend yourself. When you feel an emotional pull, pause and ask, what are they really selling? Recognize that your emotions are being used against you. Scarcity and urgency, creating fake pressure. Marketers manipulate you by making you believe you'll miss out if you don't act fast. Example, only 3 left in stock, or sale ends in 2 hours. In reality, the product isn't rare, but the illusion of urgency pushes you to buy without thinking. How to defend yourself. Don't let FOMO, fear of missing out, control your actions. Ask yourself, do I actually need this, or am I just rushing? The illusion of choice, controlling your options. You might think you have endless choices, but most are carefully controlled by major corporations. Example, you walk into a store and see 20 different brands of bottled water. But what you don't realize is that most of them are owned by the same 2 companies. Your choice is an illusion. How to defend yourself. Research who really owns the brands you buy. Understand that more options don't always mean real freedom. Influencer manipulation, trusting strangers over facts. Social media influencers create a sense of trust and connection, but they're often paid to push products. Example, an influencer you follow posts a casual video about a skincare product they love. What they don't tell you. They were paid thousands to make the video. How to defend yourself. Be skeptical of sponsored recommendations. Remember, authenticity is often staged. News manipulation, controlling public opinion. The media isn't just about informing, it's about influencing. News organizations often push certain narratives to control what you think is important. Example, a news station reports on crime increasing, but they don't mention that crime rates have actually dropped. The goal? To make you feel unsafe and more dependent on their updates. How to defend yourself. Always question the source of information. Compare news from multiple outlets to see different perspectives. Repetition, turning lies into truth. One of the most powerful manipulation tactics is repeating the same message over and over until people accept it as fact. Example, you hear a slogan like "breakfast is the most important meal of the day." But did you know this was originally created by cereal companies to sell more products? How to defend yourself. Just because something is widely accepted doesn't mean it's true. Always ask, who benefits from me believing this? Conclusion. You are the target. Advertising and media don't just influence what you buy, they shape how you think. The more aware you are, the harder it is for them to control you. Chapter 8. Manipulation in relationships. Manipulation isn't limited to advertising, politics, or the media. It also happens in your personal life. Whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, a family member, or a colleague, people can and will use psychological tactics to control, guilt, and pressure you. The worst part? It often happens so subtly that you don't even realize it. Emotional blackmail, using your feelings against you. Emotional blackmail is when someone threatens to withdraw love, approval, or connection unless you do what they want. Example, a partner says, "If you really loved me, you'd do this for me." A parent says, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me?" These tactics are meant to make you feel guilty so you comply. How to defend yourself. Recognize when someone is manipulating your emotions instead of respecting your choices. Say, "I understand you feel that way, but I make my own decisions." Gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality. Gaslighting is when someone makes you question your own perception, memory, or sanity. It's one of the most dangerous forms of manipulation because it slowly erodes your confidence in your own judgment. Example, you confront someone about their hurtful behavior, and they respond, "You're overreacting," or "That never happened." Over time, you start wondering if you're the problem. How to defend yourself. Trust your memory and instincts. Keep a journal of events if you feel like you're constantly being made to feel wrong. Set firm boundaries with people who refuse to take responsibility for their actions. The victim mentality, forcing you to feel responsible. Some people always play the victim to avoid accountability. Instead of solving problems, they shift the blame onto others and expect you to rescue them. Example, a friend who never takes responsibility for their mistakes says, "My life is falling apart, and no one cares." The unspoken message? If you cared, you'd drop everything to help me. How to defend yourself. Offer support, but don't take responsibility for someone else's problems. Recognize when someone is using guilt to keep you in their cycle of helplessness. Love bombing, too much, too soon. Love bombing happens when someone overwhelms you with affection, attention, and praise in the early stages of a relationship, only to later control and manipulate you. Example, A new partner showers you with gifts, texts non-stop, and says, "I've never felt this way before," within days. Once you're emotionally invested, they start controlling you, dictating who you talk to, what you wear, or how you spend your time. How to defend yourself. Be cautious of people who move too fast in relationships. Look for consistency. Do their actions match their words over time? The silent treatment, using absence as a weapon. Instead of communicating, some people withdraw affection, attention, or communication to make you feel anxious and desperate. Example: you have an argument with a partner, and instead of discussing it, they ignore you for days, until you finally apologize just to restore peace. How to defend yourself. Recognize that silence is being used to control you. Don't chase after someone who is punishing you with distance. Social pressure, using others against you. Manipulators will bring other people into the situation to pressure you into compliance. Example: a family member says, "Everyone agrees that you're being selfish," or a partner says, "Even my friends think you're overreacting." This is meant to make you feel outnumbered. How to defend yourself. Ask, who exactly agrees with you? Most of the time, it's an exaggeration. Stand by your decisions, even if someone tries to turn others against you. Conclusion. Taking back your power. Manipulation in relationships can be deeply damaging, but once you recognize the signs, you can protect yourself. True relationships are built on mutual respect, not control. Chapter 9. How you manipulate yourself. Manipulation isn't always external. Sometimes, the biggest manipulator in your life is you. Your own mind can deceive, sabotage, and control you in ways that are even more dangerous than outside influence. Why? Because you trust yourself. We tell ourselves comforting lies, avoid uncomfortable truths, and justify bad decisions, all while believing we are in control. But are we really? Let's break down how self-manipulation works and how you can stop it. Confirmation bias, seeing what you want to see. Your brain loves to be right. It seeks out information that confirms what you already believe while ignoring anything that contradicts it. Example: if you believe that all rich people are greedy, you'll notice only the selfish ones while ignoring those who donate millions to charity. If you believe I always fail, your mind will highlight every mistake and ignore your successes. How to defend yourself. Challenge your own beliefs. Ask, what if I'm wrong? Seek out opposing viewpoints and analyze them objectively. Be aware that your mind is filtering reality, so make an effort to see the full picture. Cognitive dissonance, lying to yourself to feel better. When your actions contradict your beliefs, your mind tries to reduce the discomfort by altering reality. Instead of admitting a mistake, you create justifications. Example: you buy an expensive gadget you don't need. Instead of admitting you wasted money, you convince yourself, "This will improve my productivity." Or, you stay in a toxic relationship and tell yourself, "They'll change." Your brain would rather rewrite the truth than face the painful reality. How to defend yourself. Notice when you're making excuses instead of facing facts. Accept discomfort. It's better to feel a little pain now than suffer a bigger consequence later. The illusion of control, believing you have more power than you do. People love to believe they are in control, even when they aren't. This illusion makes you overestimate your influence on events. Example: you think you can change someone's behavior if you just love them enough. Or you believe your superstitions, like a lucky charm, will determine success or failure. How to defend yourself. Accept that you can only control your own actions. Stop taking responsibility for things outside your influence. Procrastination, a hidden form of self-manipulation. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's self-deception. You tell yourself, "I'll do it later," but later never comes. Example, you delay going to the gym, convincing yourself you'll start next Monday. Or you avoid a tough conversation, promising yourself you'll deal with it when the time is right. In reality, your brain is protecting you from discomfort by pushing responsibilities into the future. How to defend yourself. Use the 5-second rule, count down from 5 and take action immediately. Remind yourself, future me won't be more motivated than present me. The just this once lie, small manipulations that lead to big consequences. One of the most common self-manipulations is the just this once lie. You convince yourself that one exception won't hurt. Example, I'll skip the workout just this once. I'll eat junk food today, but tomorrow I'll be healthy. I'll lie just this one time. But small exceptions turn into habits. Before you know it, you've repeated the excuse so many times that it becomes your new reality. How to defend yourself. Treat every small decision as important, because it is. When tempted, ask, if I repeat this choice every day, where will I end up? The victim mentality, manipulating yourself into powerlessness. Sometimes, self-manipulation takes the form of playing the victim. Instead of taking action, you convince yourself that you're powerless, unlucky, or cursed. Example, you blame your failures on your upbringing, bad luck, or other people. While external factors do play a role, the victim mindset prevents you from making changes. How to defend yourself. Stop waiting for circumstances to change, change yourself instead. Replace "why is this happening to me" with "what can I do about it?" Conclusion. Becoming immune to your own manipulation. Self-manipulation is the most dangerous kind because you believe your own lies. But once you become aware of how your mind deceives you, you can take back control. Chapter 10. Breaking Free, How to Protect Yourself from Manipulation. By now, you understand that manipulation is everywhere. It comes from the media, corporations, politicians, friends, family, and even yourself. But knowing you're being manipulated isn't enough, you need a strategy to protect yourself. This chapter is about building mental armor, practical techniques to recognize, resist, and neutralize manipulation before it controls you. Strengthening your awareness. The first and most powerful defense against manipulation is awareness. The more conscious you are of how others influence you, the less power they have over you. How to increase awareness. Regularly ask yourself, what does this person/organization want me to do, think, or feel? When you see emotional headlines, pause and analyze, am I being emotionally manipulated? Study classic manipulation techniques so you can identify them in real time. Developing critical thinking. Manipulators thrive on people who don't question things. If you accept everything at face value, you're an easy target. How to sharpen your thinking. Before believing something, ask, what's the evidence? Separate facts from opinions. Just because something sounds true doesn't mean it is. Be skeptical of information that triggers extreme emotions, it's likely designed to manipulate. Controlling your emotions. Most manipulation works because it hijacks your emotions. Fear, anger, guilt, and excitement can all be used against you. How to protect yourself. When you feel a strong emotional reaction, pause before acting. Ask yourself, am I reacting, or am I making a rational choice? Avoid making big decisions when emotionally overwhelmed. Learning to say no. Many manipulators rely on your fear of rejection or conflict. They pressure you into compliance because they know you don't want to say no. How to resist. Practice saying no without guilt or over-explaining. When someone tries to guilt trip you, stay firm and recognize their tactic. Remember, your boundaries are yours to protect. Being comfortable with discomfort. Manipulation often works because people want to avoid discomfort. Whether it's social pressure, awkward conversations, or fear of missing out, manipulators use your desire for comfort against you. How to build resistance. Get used to standing your ground, even when it's uncomfortable. Practice facing difficult emotions instead of avoiding them. Accept that not everyone will like your choices, and that's okay. Watching your own biases. We all have blind spots. The problem is, manipulators know them better than we do. They use our biases to steer us in the direction they want. How to protect yourself. Be aware of confirmation bias, the tendency to only see what supports your beliefs. Challenge your assumptions. What if I'm wrong? Expose yourself to different perspectives, even if you don't agree with them. Avoiding manipulative relationships. Some people in your life will always try to control you, whether through guilt, gaslighting, or emotional blackmail. The best way to win is to not play their game. How to escape manipulative people. Trust actions, not words. If someone constantly lies, guilt trips, or exploits you, believe their behavior. Distance yourself from toxic relationships. Not every connection is worth saving. Set boundaries and enforce them, even if others don't like it. Reclaiming your independence. The ultimate goal is to become someone who thinks independently, acts consciously, and refuses to be controlled. How to achieve true independence. Stop looking for external validation, learn to trust your own judgment. Stay informed, but don't let information overload control your emotions. Live by your own values, not by what others expect of you. Conclusion. Mastering the game of influence. Manipulation is an unavoidable part of life. But now, you're no longer an easy target. You understand how manipulation works. You can spot the tactics. You can defend yourself. And most importantly, you can make decisions on your own terms. The world belongs to those who see reality clearly. From now on, you're one of them.